What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Altitude Film Room. I am gravelly, raspy voice Rob
It took
Trujillo.
3 seconds, man. It took 3 seconds for the throat to reveal itself.
And I just know I can't have too much emotion one way or the other, and I'm fine, which is why pre-show when we're talking, everything sounds good. And then I open it up, and I'm excited, and I get all... But we're going to fight through. We're all right. We're going to fight through. We've got 4 touchdown passes from Bo Nix to talk about. His best game as a pro by far. Made some incredible throws. And the Denver Broncos put their foot down and said, we are playoff contenders this year. We're going to be part of this. So it was an exciting game. And even though I'm playing hurt, Coach, we had to go through it a little bit here. First off, just your general thoughts on the game and where the Broncos are.
Well, before I start with the Broncos, I'm going to talk about my coaching strategy for Rob Trujillo being the walking wounded. And I'm not gonna personnel around Rob Trujillo. There's going to be a lot of Rob T dropping just total zingers. So I don't know. I'm gonna let you really take this thing and run with it, the whole time and see if we can get those.
I got some lemon zinger right here.
Hey, you know what? This is probably the one time, like, we have to talk about how you got injured and why you're playing hurt. And it has a little something to do with your Buffalo Bills beating the hated by pretty much all of us Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, tell us a little bit about what went into the vocal cords being snapped.
I mean, we were America's team on Sunday and came through to make sure that the Chiefs didn't have an undefeated season that we all had to talk about. And of course, we don't want that. Nobody wants that.
How many Bills backers? How many Bills backers were at your event?
I've got a little group of Bills fans. We all get together.
How many were there for this one?
This on Sunday.
50?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And you were at the it was at Stoney's, correct?
Stoney's Uptown. We take over the bar.
And then you were on the mic too. You were the hype. Were you the hype man?
I was. There were a couple Chiefs fans who were running their mouths, and
they got
back to back Super Bowl champions. So I guess they can talk. But
yeah, they can have their time.
Well, I had to get on the mic and give it back to them just a little bit.
No doubt.
And then, of course, before the game even ended, when we take the last knee, guess who's walking out the door already?
Chiefs fans.
Tail between their legs, headed out of there. So
the thing about a true Buffalo fan is, even if you got beat, say, and you're in a very hostile environment relative to the ratio of Bills to Chiefs fans. So just flip the pendulum and have it be, you're one of 6 Chiefs fans and there's 50 plus Bills fans. The Bills fans are going to stick around and keep just smashing beers and they probably will actually smash, some tables. They'll smash whatever they can. They might snap a pool stick. But it is what it is, man.
17 years without making the playoffs, you find ways to entertain yourself. You know what
Has it been 17?
Well, I mean, when they were on their drive,
had it been 17? Yeah, obviously.
It was 17 years from when I was 12 till when I was 30.
Did I tell you about my Bills story? My personal interaction with the Bills?
Oh no.
No, it was all very positive. So for whatever reason, my dad was coaching at USC when the Bills played in I believe it was the Super Bowl at the Rose Bowl. Does that sound right?
Yep.
And I don't remember which one it was. I'm guessing it was a missed kick.
Whitney Houston one.
Was it a missed kick too?
No, that was that one. Yeah.
I think it was.
That was the first one.
So they practiced the entire 10 days leading up to the Super Bowl and took over the USC football facility. And so my dad was able to get me around the Bills. And I became a diehard Bills fan as a kid. Granted, I've moved 52 times since then, so I don't even know what I am anymore. But I got to meet Marv Levy. He was wonderful. He talked to my dad for, 20 minutes. Got to meet Andre Reed, Bruce Irvin, Thurman Thomas. I still have all their, I think what was it? Would that have been 91? 90. I had their 89 and 1990 football cards, and they're all signed with a really bad Bic pen. They're like, you could tell that they were trying to sign and the Bic pen wasn't working. So it's you can see Bruce Smith with his getting the pen going. So it's scratched out, which I think it makes it even cooler. And so then I lived and died with all those Bills Super Bowl losses, man.
Died a lot.
It was
Did a
tough.
lot
There
of,
was some
did
dying.
a lot of dying. Yeah.
And then I gave up because I was like, I don't even know where I live anymore. But let's talk Denver Broncos.
Well, I mean, listen, so the Broncos on a long playoff drought themselves and looking to break it this year. Bo Nix, I mean, what a game from him on
Fantastic.
Sunday. It was the step forward I think all of us have been waiting to see. And that is huge to me. I mean, it's one of those things where if you can start seeing evolution from him as a quarterback, not only are you talking about playoffs this year, but you're talking about having your guy, and that's incredible. This is not a great Falcons defense, but just to do that against anybody in the NFL, I think is huge, Coach.
No,
so what do you want to go
there's no
over here?
question. Yeah, so I'm going to show the 4 touchdown passes, and the reason why I'm choosing that, well, number one, it's easy to filter on NFL Pro, so you can't make coaches cut ups. But the most important reason is that this was a game where, as a play caller, and I knew it right after this first touchdown pass to Nate Adkins, where I looked over at DMAC and Vic up in press row at Empower Field, and I just immediately said to him, I was like, listen, this guy's in his bag today. And I was talking about Sean Payton. He dialed up some brilliant stuff that I actually think he pulled from previous games. And so this first touchdown pass here, I think he pulled from using Marvin Mims in this quote unquote joker position that we've heard Sean talk about for a long time, but haven't seen any proof of concept. And really, I think the fact that Marvin Mims has carried the football from the backfield and actually lined up to start a play in the backfield as the sole tailback on the field is what is giving me some belief that this package is now ready to take off. And this was amazing.
Carries than he had catches, Coach.
Correct. I mean, it was kind of wild.
3 carries and 2 catches.
And you could point to last year and say that, yeah, he used them, to hand him the football, but it was more fly sweep. It was more reverses, end arounds, the various ways you can get more of a traditional receiver the football. But Sean lined Marvin Mims up to start the game against Kansas City for what was it, an 8, 9, 10, 11-yard gain to start the ball game. And I thought it was like, okay, I like it. No, I like that you're using a skill set of somebody, and B, I love that you're setting some stuff up. So this right here, you can see Marvin Mims is lined up outside, far right, just in a tight condensed split. And this really, for all intents and purposes, is a form of a bunch. You have Adkins is in a yo position. Y off is what the yo means. Little Jordan Humphrey, who's done a lot at the point. When you hear about the point, it's the guy that takes the line of scrimmage in a bunch set. Marvin Mims was interviewed about the screen game, and he actually was quoted as saying the point did a great job all day. We'll get to that in a second. But little Jordan Humphrey's been the point because he's a bit of a hybrid player. He can do, frankly, he can do some things that a tight end does in protection. He can do some things that a tight end does in the toss sweep game, which is like 98 toss bunch crunch, which requires a down block, usually even on a defensive end from that point position. So this has the look and feel of potential running the football. And, it's interesting is I always love to get really medieval and running the ball. I used the Brian Harsin, my boss at Boise State, would always get on the headset when we'd cross about the 15-yard line. He'd go, run it to win, and in the red zone. Because, and what I loved about that is if that's your identity, then the play actions, the nakeds, the bootlegs, and even possibly the kind of the naked screen game becomes more viable. Well, I love what goes on here. This is the in vogue motion. I haven't heard it called anything. I just call it like it's a hybrid motion. It starts out as looking like a fly motion. So it comes in front of the quarterback, and let me click right here on the screen. So it comes right here in front of the quarterback, and it feels like fly sweep. So you like right there, full speed in front of the quarterback, close enough where it could be an end around, but then you slam the brakes on, and now you're entering the backfield. Okay. And this is almost a little bit wing tee football. You see it a lot with Columbine. You see it with.
Hold on. Can I for once teach you something, Coach?
I'll let you know if it's new to me or not.
We call that an orbit motion. I don't know if that's what they use in the NFL.
Well, so that's what I call. So I call this. I use the term. It's like it's fly orbit because it returns. It starts out as fly, and then it's like I've used like fake orbit or fly orbit, because like a true orbit to me would be that he starts here and goes straight like to a track behind the quarterback, which was more in vogue in the, like we used that a ton in 2014. We had kind of a duck player that was a hybrid ball carrier at Boise State, and I used it a lot, but I didn't do a lot with this fake, this like show the fly in front of quarterback, slam the brakes on, and then go behind the quarterback. And the reason orbit, at least from my perspective, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, is that you essentially look at this backfield as like the edge of the earth, and you're going to orbit or behind the edge of the earth like a satellite.
See, and we called it orbit because the quarterback was the earth.
Oh, there
so
you go.
You would run past him and then slam on the brakes and turn around and go, and you'd orbit the quarterback.
I love it.
So that was our terminology, but
yeah, that makes sense.
Different than yours.
I like it. So I learned something. You win.
Yes.
I lost. Yeah. So you can see here with the action, and then you do get center pull. So Luke Wattenberg is pulling from the center position. I'll show that again. Anytime you pull a center or guard, it's like triggers run responses. And the backfield action, which started out with, I believe that's Jaleel. It might be Javante. Looks like, I can't tell, Javante. But the action is what gets this play accomplished, in my opinion, because you have center pull, which is good for protection. Now you're sealing off that new C gap that was created. And really, you're pulling the center, but you block down with the guy who ends up catching the touchdown pass. That block down, you'll watch it here again. I'm going to put it, let's see this. 1,001, 1,002, go. That 1,001, 1,002, where you engage the front of the defensive line, that gets, I believe that's Nate Landman, tackling machine from the CU Buffs in 2021 and before that.
Yes, sir.
Landman this guy loves tackling people in the run game. I mean, he is just 100, what do you have, like 157 tackles at CU every year? It felt like it, at least. Right. Yeah. So that's Nate Landman now, who is in position to be the run fitter. He's got Nate Atkins in man-to-man coverage. But the run, the visual of the run keyed with or combined with the backfield action, and that's a great mesh point there from Marvin Mims and Bo Nix. Like right there, center pull, possible cross flow action, and tight end blocking. Run. It all the red flags are up. Run play. So that's why Nate Landman, who does have coverage responsibility, and you can see 27 here, has Mimsy in man-to-man coverage, and he comes to cover him on the essentially like the check down route. What I love about this play design is that the Broncos have run throwback bootlegs. So like the throwback to Jaleel McLaughlin on this play is already on tape. So we like Atlanta's sitting here and like, oh, we got you, Sean.
Eating it up.
Yeah. Eating it up. Look at it. You can see it right here. That's our guy Ellis's brother. I forgot his first name. Jonah Ellis is Luther's pops.
Luther's pops, you're right.
Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway, Ellis's older brother. He did a great job of staying home. He's got his man coverage responsive. Caden Ellis. There you go. Okay. There is nobody. Okay. Let's look. I'd say that's 8 yards of separate. Let's see when the ball's caught. 8 yards of separation. 12 yards of separation. 10 yards of separation. And what I love here is that you could see this as somebody like, oh, Bo Nix, he's like, big deal. You threw to a wide open guy. Well, first off, tip the cap to Sean and or Davis. And this is my favorite thing about this clip.
Yeah.
Look at my man. He pulls the Lane Kiffin. And I love it. When you can see it right here at the bottom. That's our guy, Davis Webb. He knows, right there. I mean, Bo hasn't even started. He just begins his throwing process. And he gives the old Lane Kiffin. One hand, the call sheet's up. And he knows. Pimping it.
He knows it's 6.
It's like a home run. You feel that sweet spot, you know it's in. But as you look at the end zone here and the protection, I like, let's just call it like it is. And I hate to oversimplify things and put things in categories like the Falcons have no pass rush, but the Falcons have no pass rush. It's as simple as that. So this is more about pulling Luke Wattenberg. Again, combination. You read triangles at linebacker to get runner pass indicators. Your triangle is low hat, Mike McGlinchey. So he's coming out with low. He is not in pass protection mode right there. He would be leaning back if he was in full pass protection mode. Right guard there, fully engaged. Quinn Miners. Okay. And then the big one is in your triangle. Okay. Right through here, you have backfield action. Nate Landman, who has him in man coverage responsibility. Whoop. Gotcha. Already done.
Yeah.
Can't cover Nate Atkins. It's
Well,
already.
Let's
Go
talk
ahead.
about that pull action too a little bit, Coach, because I mean it's only like a half roll, but that pull action is super tight on the edge of that line there.
Yes.
I mean, talk about that and how that affects the linebacker's eyes a little bit. To me, that looks like a run pull,
Yes.
not like
100%.
a pass pull, right? And I think it's designed to look like that.
Now, you and I both know this. The only like smarter, I always use the term, a smarter player is a better player. And in Nate Landman's case, how many true run plays do you pull the center? Right. Not many. It's a low.
It depends who it is. The Bills do it all the time. I don't know if the Broncos.
Yeah, it's a fairly low. If you're a big pin and pull team, it has to do with who's covered, like which down linemen are covered and which one are not. But usually center pull, I always thought about it as a offensive coordinator. I'd be like, dude, like they know, like we don't pull our center very often. You know what I mean? But right. Dude, when you combine the action and you're reading your triangle, and I think the big thing is the sell from Nate Atkins here once again. So when you pull into the line of scrimmage as opposed to pull with depth, yes, it looks more like run. To your point, Rob, it looks shallow, much more.
And he cuts right off the butt too. You know what I mean? You see him flip right there, and it makes me think, okay, he's going to lead up for a run right here.
Yes,
you know.
And then he slams the brakes and is ready to clean up, which ends up being the puller, ends up being the cleanup for the relief of the 1,001, 1,002 shed. Now Judon's unblocked. Guess who's in position? An absolutely clean pocket. Bo Nix athletically throws across his body, wide open. Degree of difficulty, as we know, is not high. Who cares? You executed the play perfectly. The backfield action was great. Everything about it was fantastic.
Just real quick, it's a great example of helping out your offensive line too. I don't know if they thought that they needed help against this Falcons defensive line, but all those linemen blocking down, the fact that they get to come down the line of scrimmage and you're moving Bo Nix, even just a couple steps outside.
Yeah, you're away from this. Yeah. You're away from, and there's a little seepage there. Powers gets beat a bit, and that's going to happen.
But you're helping your O-line just with the play call. You know what I
mean? And to the point, like, when you do run action, like, so this is, some people will call this like, say, play action. I look at play action as real pass pro fundamentals from the offensive line with some BS little token fake to a running back. Run action is when you got pullers involved, or you got full outside zone looks to the call side, and you got where the backfield action actually resembles what the offensive line is blocking. That's run action. So this is a perfect example of a run action look. And then to the point of getting away from and moving the spot, which started on the left hash to the middle of the two hashes, changing the launch point helps your O-line 100%.
It was a beautiful play call, wide open.
Yeah, I like the play design a lot. I like the timing of the play call. I love that early for a quarterback, to give him something that you don't have to, like, red zone passing, Rob, is challenging. I mean, I'm talking small challenging. Windows. Tight windows, like drop back red zone passing, where you just catch a snap, take a 3-step or a 5-step drop. That's predominantly reserved for the Mahomes, the Burrows, the Allens, who's he wasn't there in his first 3 years. Would you agree? Where he's really a red zone pass game and drop back aficionado. That's why the run action and or bootleg naked game, or if they're all out blitzing, check to a fade or a slant, that's different. But when
it's where Bo's legs come in as well, right? You can turn your check down into using your legs. But I mean, we've seen that earlier this year. This was him dominating the red zone with his arm.
Yeah. And okay. So this is, I believe this is 3rd down and goal from the 12-13. Okay. So that last play was my favorite play design of the season. Okay. Rob, this is my favorite timing of play call of the season, because the Falcons, look where their safeties are at. Okay. These two safeties, they're playing essentially a red zone cover 2 Tampa, which some people will call it red 2. All right. Red 2 is designed to use your underneath players to take away the front of the goal line, like the front line. And then your safeties are used to dissuade you from running back line routes. All right. Look how soft this coverage is. 7, 8 yards of separation from essentially a cloud corner. The nickel's playing off at 5 yards. You'll end up seeing that you get an inside linebacker. I believe it's Ellis. I could be wrong. Could be Lamon. Lamon's showing the contour that he's going to be the middle plugger, which to Tampa means cover 2. So responsible for the flat. Essentially, your back line are playing halves of the field between the two safeties. And then the Tampa is because the Tampa Bay Bucks under Lovie Smith and, the brain trust of Lovie Smith and Tony Dungy ran this coverage versus all looks, is it the inside linebacker? And we'll see which one of the two. I watched it 2 days ago. Yesterday, sorry. Is going to plug the middle and essentially take away any of the throws right over the middle of the field.
So, Coach, let's talk about that separation. If you're coaching this on defense, are you telling them put your heels on the 5-yard line because I want to make it so he throws it in front, right? Like I kind of want to scare him into that down on the goal line because you're right, it is 3rd down. So it's 3rd and 12, 3rd and goal from the 12.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm coaching this up, I don't like the depth of the corners. That's the thing. Like, I was watching this from the press box. I was like, what the hell are these guys doing?
Like, that's what I'm
do you
saying.
not know
do
you not know what Sean Payton is known for in many league circles? Is he known for the highly risky drop back red zone down the field concept, or is he known for the screen game and pick you apart and get runners?
Right, and find ways to get guys.
Okay, so not only that, but okay, so you bring Marvin Mims in short motion. Okay, Marvin Mims drifts back. Okay, now gets in position. The point man is Devon Vele, and he gets the screen started. The ball's thrown. Look how much damn separation, because this corner has the flat. Look how much that is 10 yards of separation. That's
you
space.
Should be crashing right now. Right?
Yes, because that's your flat that you're responsible for. And if it's like a double move where you fake the screen and run the wheel, guess who's there over the top? The safety is.
Yeah.
It takes the ball's halfway traveled there, and Devon Vele's in perfect position. And this guy does everything well. Everything. Blocks well. He catches. He has really strong hands. Sean Payton told us about his 32-inch inseam. I didn't think I'd know the length between a man's legs, at least this year about a player, which is interesting because it means that he's got shorter legs for a 6'4" guy, so he can play less leggy. Not Jeff Legwall, but leggy, as Sean Payton calls it.
Easy on leggy.
Yeah, I love Mike McGlinchey here. Okay, because when you're a big fella, and I coached Mike McGlinchey, I wasn't his position coach. I was the offense coordinator, quarterback coach at Notre Dame. It's hard when you're 6'8" plus, which he's damn near 6'9", one of the tallest linemen I've been around, and you weigh 320 to 335 pounds. Like, this is one of the hardest things to do, is to get out in space and adapt and adjust to the movement of very athletic players, in this case, the nickel. Mike McGlinchey, perfect engagement. I mean, I am talking perfect engagement. All right. Then you get Luke Wattenberg. You see what he does. Look where his body language is going.
Peeling back.
Yep. And so you call that the rat kill. All right. So in any good screen, usually it's going to be either the third man out in a halfback slow screen, or it's designated because it's a middle screen. Use your center typically as the rat kill. What does that mean? You smell a rat, you kill him. All right. And so somebody who sniffed out the screen, you're looking to make sure that guy doesn't get back into the picture. So that's Luke Wattenberg in the rat kill. Perfect. All right. Now you see Quinn Miners doing a great job. I believe that's Lucas Kroll kind of cleaning up to make sure that body presence doesn't come across. And at this point, touchdown. And you can see, what do we have now? Our guy Davis again. And let's see how quickly he got his hands up this time. Oh, Sean's got a single fist. I think that's Sean. He's got a little single fist. Oh, it's covered up
behind our little film tag. You can't.
Okay, let's see here. There it goes. Yep, he knew it. Dave's got it.
As soon as he saw McGlinchey engage, he arms went
for sure. And then the rest is history. We'll look at this from the end zone.
Now, the big thing here, I think, for me, is not just Vele getting to his block, but staying with his block.
Yes,
Because
sustain.
you give Mims the option then. If he wants to try to cut outside of you, he can. That's not where you want it to go. But the fact that he's engaged that entire time means that he can either cut it up the middle, cut around the outside, or go back up inside behind his lineman. He's got options because you did your job the entire time.
You're right. Vele engaged, great leverage, fights for leverage, doesn't hold. Cool. It's a tunnel screen. The objective of the tunnel screen is you got to get the party started as the point man. But then because you have right tackle, right guard, and then even tight end from opposite side coming, you're creating a wall this way. So all you got to do at Vele's position, and it's, once again, smarter player's a better player. You just got to be able to get the party started because this is going to cut back inside. A immature rookie receiver, which Devon Vele is not. He's almost as old as you or me, Rob. He went on his Mormon mission, played like 9 years of college. He's 26, I think he might be 27. He's coming up on 27. But you hold there, right? You grab jersey. And in this case, nope, I'm gonna let you go.
Let him go.
Beautiful. And then Marvin Mims, athlete in space. Now he's starting to get that he's accustomed to running through traffic. He's done it as a punt returner, done it as a kick returner. He did it as a running back, a damn running back. That's the ugliest it gets, man. Those are the hardest yards that you got to get. Now this is just absolutely no brainer for him. Finishes 3-4 yards in the end zone.
And also something that I'm just noticing, 60 peeling back.
The rat kill.
Does not lay out Judon though. And
Yep.
if he does, that's a penalty. So smart of him. He gets there. He gets in his way. He gives him a shove. Make sure he can't make the play, but he doesn't kill him. And if he did, it would have been a 15-yard penalty. So there you go. Another example of well-coached playing smart.
Degree of difficulty, right? Is it high? No. But what I do love about Bo Nix, and I love this even in my time at scouting him on film, you can check out the Denver Gazette. I went through my evaluation process of going to the Senior Bowl, boots on the ground, watched the week of practice, did it at the combine. The one thing that I loved about Bo from the jump is he's got that middle infielder trait. And I think that's a big thing in the modern NFL game. It was very relevant, I'd say 7 years ago in college football and before that, because of all the quick at the line of scrimmage, the now screens, the RPO game. You want to be like a shortstop turning two on a 4-6-3, double play. You want to have that ability. I love Bo right here. Catch, give up a little ground so he can throw around Judon and fire. And he does it from a sidearm slot. Make sure it doesn't get knocked down, which is exactly what middle infielders do, right?
Yep.
All right, so
that little extra, it may just be a degree, but give you just that little extra room to get around Judon.
Yeah, so this was before halftime. The throw that everybody has gotten to the point of glazing Bo Nix for, and the reason I glazed Bo Nix for the throw that set up this touchdown drive right before half, helps you win the middle 8, which is that 4 minutes before halftime, 4 minutes after halftime, to really kind of put an end to really, you go into locker room, and if you score a touchdown right before halftime, your opponent they're yelling and screaming at each other. And, they're having to answer, the coaches are having to answer to a lot of questions. You score, it's like, hey, man, we got them where we want them. Now let's talk about how we can attack the second half, right? You're not fixing the problems from the first half per se. You might fix some, but it's not the panic. And that's why it's so important to get that score right before halftime. Bo Nix had the great throw to Devon Vele. He checks to essentially chip two-jet dancer, which is double go on the outside. He just loved the contour of the safeties and threw an absolute piss missile. His first, in my opinion, of his career that got me fired the frick up. And I was in the press box, and I go, ooh, okay. I was gasping. I was a gasper.
He looks like he's finding it a little bit, for sure.
Yeah. Now, this is the third touchdown pass on Bo's day. And I thought that this was a great utilization of personnel, a great look. So what personnel are you in right here? I don't know if you can tell. So I'll give you help. That's Troutman, that's Burton, and that's Javante.
So 2 backs, 2 wide receivers, so 22. One tight end, 2 backs, so 12.
So the first digit is always how many traditional running backs are in the game. So the first 21. Digit, 21, right? So this is like, essentially, this is the The
Coach, I'm
modern
dyslexic.
version.
You gotta.
No, it's all good. Are you actually?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad. Sorry.
So I flipped
I
those
won't, I
around
won't
in
ask
my
you
head.
those anymore.
No, it's fine. I
Okay.
used to be really good at figuring that out quickly, even though I was dyslexic. That's
Yeah,
what I
you
called
probably,
it.
you probably, it's about reps, right? You just see it and like, yeah, okay. Like, I don't even need to think. Like, I led you down the wrong path of like the actual numbers part and order part, as opposed to just looking at it. But this is I formation football from the pistol. Okay. So this would be called in a lot of, this would be weak left because the tight end's to the left. And then now that you brought your Z receiver over here, which I think that's probably Franklin. So this would be weak left slug nasty. So pistol, weak left because the fullback is the weak. He is not lined to the strong side, which is your tight end strength. That's how you call formations. And slot is typically with the Z receiver inside, X outside. Slug in the West Coast offense is typically with the Z is now lined up outside, and you have your X as the point man. So these are different ways that as a play caller, you can get people into different spots, is using different terminology.
But coach, if you're counting from the center, it looks like they're lined up defensively strong to the left, to the weak side, to the fullback side.
To this side?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's and you know, I'm always I'm kind of so Landman is shaded to this side.
Is he?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, to be honest, they're like you could fuzz motion, which is a short fullback motion to the left, and run 97 force, which would be an outside zone lead, and put the force player up there on the safety, and then double team back to Landman, and you probably walk in. That's bad. That's bad football defensively.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So talk about just from an offensive perspective, this pistol formation where you have the fullback to the side. A lot of what people don't like, media members especially, but some coaches as well, about being in the shotgun this close to the goal line is that your running back can really only go one direction. Whereas when he's in the pistol look like this, he can go either way, same as a traditional I formation.
Correct. 100%.
So
now the only thing, okay, so I'm gonna pistol whip you here, or excuse me, pencil whip you because we're talking okay. With the pencil. Is if you were lined up under center here, then the fullback could go either way at the snap. So that's like the one downside of pistol. It's better than gun because you can't tell. You know, a lot of defensive fronts are set to the shotgun alignment of the tailback, left or right. Is it to the tight end strength? Is it away from the tight end strength? There's a lot of tendencies that come out because of where the back is aligned. So like, for example, in 3-by-1 spread formations, tight end's not a part of the core. Where the back is aligned away from the 3-by side, it's like 90-something% pass in most systems because you don't want to get 4 out to a side unless you're doing something tricky. You want to balance up the distribution of the defense. In 3-by-1 with the tailback and shotgun to the side of the 3-by receivers, it's a very high percentage of run because everybody runs zone read with the bubble to that side. Sure. Right. And so that you give up some tendencies, whereas in pistol, you can run outside zone with the better angle for the running back, just like if you were under center. B, you can run various inside plays like power, counter, and not give up the direction of which way it would go based off of the alignment of the tailback. But I will say the downside, like as a coach, when I started taking 21 personnel, which is traditional I formation football, when I started going into the pistol, I was like, damn, I wish I could get my fullback in an I formation. You know, and technically you could, oh, damn it. I got a little
excited there, coach.
Yeah. I went the wrong side of my camera mechanism here. But technically you could, and there are teams that have put a fullback behind the quarterback, but now they're like at 6.5 yards. You can't get that great angle on a kick out block. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the other thing I've seen teams do, coach, which is new in this past couple of years, and maybe it was in the college game before and I didn't see it, is actually walk that fullback up and put him in like the A gap.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we did that a lot in 2011 at Stanford. So it's not totally new. We would use that for protection on third down. So if we had like any type of double A gap mug, meaning they're both inside backers are pressing the line of scrimmage in the A gaps, we would slide the center. We'd use the fullback. And if he saw that look, quarterback would be like, hey, sniffer, sniffer, sniffer. And then we'd get the fullback into that open gap, and the center would then go block the other A gap linebacker. Yeah. So it didn't have a ton of benefits in the run game, candidly, because it's proving that you're probably going to be either running in something inside, or you're running some type of trap or wham concept where you're going to go block back on a 3 technique or something along those lines. So, all right, so let's take a look at this screen. So 3rd touchdown pass. Oh, they're blitzing everybody. So this one to me, man, was like, you've already gotten beaten. Okay. You got beat because you played soft coverage against soft zone, no pressure. Well, okay, now what's your answer, Raheem? Is your answer to blitz now? Okay, cool. What they score on last time that they were in the same spot? A screen
pass. Yeah.
What's the best way? So just looking at it right here, if you're going to bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 human beings, what do you think, Rob, would be the best answer to take away the screen?
To take away if I'm bringing 7?
Yeah.
I would probably bring a safety. I don't know. You throw right into the blitz. So
right. But look at the contour of this out here.
Yeah.
It's soft.
Yeah.
You're playing into their hands of how they just beat you.
Right.
Okay. So corners just got to come. You can play these tight bunch stacks, which is a 2-man stack, and you can press the point with one of them. And it's a great way to stop the screen game. Now, if you're going to play covers, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's obviously going to be 0, right? If you're bringing that many guys.
And they end up peel blitzing here.
Okay.
But yeah, it is cover 0, 100%.
But so you can't necessarily have the 2 guys right next to each other, right? You want to offset your defenders a little bit so they don't run into each other.
Right. So you press the point. And
right.
So there's like multiple ways of playing press the point man coverage versus a tight stack.
But,
so if you you can bring the corner down and press the point, and he can either lock the guy that he's over, and then you put the safety 4 to 6 yards either stacked behind or slightly offset outside is usually what you do. Okay. And you can press the point and lock it, or you can play what they call top hat. Top hat's pretty cool. It's a defensive adjustment just for stacks. And the guy that you press the point with, he is not engaging initially. He ends up manning the second guy, and then you change up the coverage responsibility between these 2 guys. And now the deep coverage player takes the point player. So you essentially let him go. And it helps you to actually stay free at the line of scrimmage to combat screen game. Right. So that you're not concerned with locking up the initial guy. And then the other thing you can do is you can press the point and then zone it. Truly zone it.
That corner should be closer, right?
Closer. Yeah. Make it hard. Make it challenging, right?
Because either way, whether he's engaging the point person or he's breaking on the second guy, you want to close that gap before the snap. Like, what are you doing all the way back there?
Well, also, okay, so with this being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the pressure, how many eligibles do you have to throw the ball to? 1, 2, 3, the fullback, 4, and 5. Okay, so they end up peel blitzing with Judon, meaning that the fullback free releases, right? So I have to peel. They end up, I think, peel blitzing here, but watch what they do on the back end. They're zoning this off. So there is not one underneath player to combat. Like, you could have thrown a Y spot right there, or like you could have thrown a quick slant to either one of these 2 guys, and you might have the same result. They might be playing catch and rally, which is, I think, the down here, it's a 2nd down. It's not even 3rd down. Like, catch and rally, you're giving up 5. You're on the 2nd and goal from the 7.
Yeah.
And I know, I believe the Broncos had already, I think they had 1 timeout remaining at this point. If they had 0 timeouts, I could see the logic behind this defensive play call. I'd have to look at it. I know they had
Well,
burned a timeout.
But this was in the third quarter, wasn't it, Coach?
No, this is before half. Because they went up 21. They went up 21. Was it 21? 21-6 was the halftime score.
Yeah, but that was Javonte was in.
Oh, no, you're right. No, you're right. Yeah, no, you're 100% right.
This is second.
The third touchdown, the halftime what they scored on was the previous play we talked about.
Yeah,
in the 2-minute drive.
Was the third.
You're right.
One. Yep.
So there's no logic. There is no logic that can say, why would you play cover zero pressure, peel blitz, and then play zone and just let them rally? You're still giving up yardage. Okay, so here, let's take a look at how the peel blitz. So you can see they swing Burton to the screen. He ends up being the first guy to eliminate any peeler, which is exactly what he does. That's Judon, engaged. Gotcha. Great job by Troy Franklin. A lot of times the tendency for a young wide receiver, and I know he's not young, meaning he played college football and high school football, but just young at the level, respective to whatever level it may be, is that you kind of panic in these tight, you catch the ball and you think, oh, I got to get outside. Great discipline to get back inside again, knowing that you do have that help of that screen track. And this is what I saw at training camp when I was there. Anytime before 10 to noon started, the early outs and the walkthroughs would happen. Sean Payton was coaching every single guy on every single detail of every single screen. And that's what got me to shift my paradigm from last year to say, I don't know about this Sean Payton guy, to being like, that's a ball coach. That's a detailed football coach. And I loved it. I did. I said it on the air. I was like, this is a different Sean Payton than I thought. And I wasn't at training camp a year ago. All I could go off of was the press conferences, which you and I both know nothing real from coaches and players really happens at the press conference.
Right.
But he was coaching the details and it showed up here on this tunnel screen.
Well, and if you're a runner and you're looking at that, and it's changed a little bit now that you spun it forward a little bit, but the fact that you see the backs of all the orange there. Right there.
Yep,
you see,
that's what you want to see.
You want to see the numbers. You want to see the backs of your guys. And if you look at it, all of their guys are hat on hat. And like that. And so, like you said, credit to Troy Franklin for cutting up in there and following his blocks right off their butts.
Yep. And also what he does do here, sometimes with screen runners, I've had this like speedsters that aren't built very big. Like they don't like cutting this thing tight off the butts of the guys that are kicking it out. They try to run to green grass. And that's where you get those crazy hits with retracing interior defensive linemen that just absolutely obliterate a receiver that doesn't keep it tight to those kick out blocks. And then in this case, so last time, Rob, we talked about the rat kill, the peel back guy. The peel back might be the reason this scored and the discipline of Ben Powers now. Now it's Luke Wattenberg wasn't able to get out. So now it ends up being, so you can see Wattenberg here. We'll go back. You can see he's covered up. He's got to engage that because that could potentially be a redirector. Ben Powers does the old screen, slap the back, and you can see the defensive lineman flying down at the feet of Bo Nix because he's got a head full of steam waiting to rush. Now you see Ben Powers as the rat kill. The redirecting interior defensive lineman. Okay, watch this. 1, 2, 3, big hit. Nope. He uses special teams, peel back, fundamental details that you use on punt return. And instead of it being a 15-yard penalty or even a clip, he uses that kind of throwing that a little bit like that body, boxing out.
Yeah.
He box out, you don't get the call because it's not the intent. You could maybe say that, but I think the fact that the ball carrier didn't come off of the butt of that retracing defensive lineman. 3 touchdown passes.
When Franklin's running like that, it's kind of like throwing a pass, isn't it? Like you want to run, when you're saying run off their butt, you want to run to the spot where they are right now because they won't be there in the half second when you get there.
Yep.
And so he's kind of replacing those two guys as they are blocking out and is able to cut it straight up. It was a great job running that ball.
Yeah, and I love this play call too. I think the timing of it, it's one of those. What's the old saying? Is it fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you? Or is it the other way around?
I think it's the other way around. Fool me
once, I just asked a dyslexic guy. I've messed that up 17 times on air. But you're right. I'm shocked, man, that they gave up 2 red zone tunnel screens for touchdowns. I mean,
I like Raheem. Like, I
he
think
seems
he's a
like an
good
awesome dude,
coach.
man. He did a great job with the Rams.
Yep.
Dude,
So it's
that was a
weird to
weird
see.
that was a weird defensive plan, man. And not just these touchdowns. It was kind of throughout the course of the day. And you got to tip the cap to Sean Payton for revealing some issues that the Falcons clearly have. So a lot of people say they can't get home. They have a terrible pass rush. I saw some major issues in coverage, which you usually don't see at this venture of being in an NFL season.
Can you talk about, Coach, just real quick, how much of that might be how late they put this whole group together? Simmons signs late. Judon doesn't get in there till late. Is it maybe
it's a new staff, right?
Thing? Yeah.
Yeah, new staff. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know enough details about maybe what Raheem Morris is in terms of the complexities of his system. I wish I could speak more on that. Typically, like with a Vic Fangio defense, which has a lot of complexities, I mean, and it's constantly evolving, you need veteran players. I can't speak to Raheem, but sometimes with Vic, you don't see the real best nature of that defense until you're either mid-season or late season, because there's a lot of potential breakdowns that could happen. I guess one of my things that I was confused by, you got a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix that his stats are good. He's done a good job. Obviously, after this game, they got better even. But he still hasn't shown the ability to make with consistency, a ton of tight window throws. So you play soft zone?
Right.
Huh?
Yeah.
Just sometimes it's just keep it simple, right?
Right.
And
don't outthink yourself.
Right. And so I don't the plan was really actually, you know what's weird is it's almost an epidemic in the NFC South. Like the amount of soft zone looks that I saw against the Falcons, getting ready to prepare for this game, the soft zone looks against the Ejiro Evero, who plays a ton of quarters, who's been in that Vic Fangio system. And then for the Panthers, and then also the Bucks. Like there are a lot of like traditional, like 2 high split safety defenses. Well, Bo Nix is really good at picking apart zone coverage. He did it at Oregon, maybe better than anybody in college football. And they kept seeing, I understand people playing zone against Oregon because they got the best speedsters on the perimeter that money can buy. And they have ever since the NIL stuff went into play. And so you got to keep a top on the defense, and you can't just get beat, throwing go routes and slot fades, or it'll be, you'll be down by 28. But like, this isn't is the Broncos offense one that personnel wise on the perimeter would even remotely scare an NFL defensive coordinator? I don't know. It might be the fact that Bo Nix has been really good using his legs. And a lot of times against man coverage, there is a deficiency of somebody for the quarterback, whereas zone, you're facing the quarterback. Yeah. So, but is he that scary? Like, is he that scary? Or is he situationally efficient as a runner?
Or do you think you're going to confuse him so much that you don't want to give him the man look to let him know that your backs are turned and he can run the ball,
Yeah. 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 It's just teams that like, I watched Mike McDaniel, his plan for Bo Nix, and it was what I thought the NFL was going to do against him, which is just overpopulate the line of scrimmage pre-snap to make him overthink everything in terms of his kills, his alerts, his all that package.
Yeah.
And then play tightly contested man or catch zone principles. And it's weird, man. There's been a lot of zone looks. And
that's why he's the NFC South champion.
He is the undisputed NFC South champion. He's the MVP of the NFC South. Okay, so watch it again. Great job by Burton, guy that takes a lot of flack when he does carry the football. I agree with all the flack when he carries the football. I don't agree with his value on the roster being in question because he is a tremendous blocker. He's actually not a punishing fullback. I've coached some punishing fullbacks. I don't know if you remember Owen Marisic at Stanford, who was a two-way player in the two-way player at Stanford, and then actually did it a little bit for the 49ers when he played with Harbaugh. But that dude,
long blonde hair guy,
long blonde hair from Jesuit High School in Portland, Oregon, baby. Absolute brilliant dude. Yeah, he would knock your your deli whacker off. But great tunnel screen. I love that Miner's here. You can see fighting with that to maintain leverage, and then Troy Franklin feels just enough, and he finishes it. Third touchdown pass of the day.
All right, let's get to this last one. 10 more minutes left. Let's rip this apart here.
Let's go. All right. So this is the point of the game. You know, Michael Penix Jr., I think he's getting warmed up on the sideline. The old man, Kirk Cousins, you know, he's it's like, hey, we got to pull him because of, we don't want to get him hurt in a game where we're getting bludgeoned. It was 31-6 at this point in time. Let me, if you don't mind, I'm just going to check to see exactly how much time. So 9 minutes and 12 seconds to go. It's 31-6. Even that's including this play, which made it 37-6. You keep the field or the PAT, and you're on your way. Let me get this going here. Boom.
2nd and 6, and we're at the Atlanta
So this
41.
is one of those drives where, you know, hey man, D-Mac sitting next to me on the left. He's like, why is Bo still in there? We're going to see some Stidham. I go, Sean knows the number. What's the number? Well, at this point in time, Bo Nix is roughly 32, 33 yards short of 300 yards passing.
300 yards? Oh, man.
And so I go, so the ball gets to, I believe it's like the 40, it was the 45-yard line. You have a fresh set of downs, ball's on the 45. You had a couple good runs. You know, I think you got a penalty in there the Falcons gave you. It's like right around that area where I'm like, he's gonna call a shot on first or second down. And I said, play action, 41-yard touchdown coming. Tweeted it. Boom, hit send. Sure enough, here it is. Now, this is oh gosh, sorry. Okay. So this thing's wigging out on me, brother. I think I got too many make sure that I don't have too many windows open here. Keeps
So
doing
Bo
this.
Nix, 28 of 33, got just over, like you said. He goes for the shot play. He gets 307 yards and 4 touchdowns. And
There you go.
Listen, he knows the number. You know the number. If he keeps hitting the number, we're going to start talking about offensive rookie of the year. But go ahead, Coach.
Correct. All right. I just say I think that the potentially, I don't know about the Raiders because they might be in suck for Shador mode already. We'll find out. I think that Custer's last stand was against the Dolphins. So I personally don't think Antonio Pierce will be coaching the Raiders next year. And I personally don't think that they want to win many games from here on out. I think the Cowboys are entering that discussion very soon. Yeah. But I don't know if that's suck for Shador or tank for Travis in the Cowboys. Who knows? Suck for Shador, it makes no sense if you're the Cowboys from a financial standpoint.
You don't sorry, you don't think you can trade Dak Prescott?
You probably can.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably can.
Somebody like Carolina, maybe, who's desperate, who just wants some consistency.
They got Bryce, man. He had his 8th grade graduation. He started to play he started to play freshman football, man. He's ready to roll. Okay, so you'd run the ball effectively. All right, you're in that run it mode. Kind of let's get out of here. Okay. No, Sean don't want to get out of here. He wants to get Bo to 3 bills. My opinion. Sean could dispute that. You're running America's under center, outside zone, slide naked. Okay. So here's the slide part. It ends up being Lucas Kroll, who's lined up. This ends up being like kind of a double condensed type look. You use Mims on the motion to create what a lot of people like. This is a double stack, double tight look. Some people call that a squeeze formation, but you're motioning to a squeeze formation. You're running, I believe it's like some type of so deep cross. Cortland Sutton there is just trying to clear the space, bring the safety out of there. You've got the slider here, means he's sliding behind the line of scrimmage. And the naked part is when I use the word naked, that means they're blocking in or outside zone away from the side that Bo's going to be booting to. So you're naked. You are without protection, right? So we've actually had it. I've been a part of it where we called our nakeds bare, like as in bare naked. And then our protected naked, where you end up bringing somebody back to block, we called it Trojan because you're naked, but you got some protection, right? Okay, so this is a true naked. So you can see end man on the line of scrimmage. Yeah. He's not blocking him. He's running a flat. His coaching point on the slide route is flatter than the flattest. Cross the face, if you can, of that end man on the line of scrimmage, which he does. That creates all kinds of space, all kinds of separation. Nobody is within Bo's kind of airspace. Now, the thing that got this so dang open, and I would say this is a bit of checked out, a little bit of laziness from this overall defensive unit. All right. And it ends up being kind of a combination of right here. That should be read by Ellis's older brother, and he should reroute the living crap out of little Jordan Humphrey. Smack him. You've already got somebody in position for your slide. So Landman should be getting depth, because anytime there's a slide in the naked game, guess what's coming behind it? The drag. And the drag is universally a 10 to 12 yards past the line of scrimmage concept. Let's see if little Jordan Humphrey got to 10 to 12. Line of scrimmage was the 41-yard line.
41.
He is currently at the 31-yard line, and then builds to and catches the ball at the 29, which is 10 to 12 yards, right?
Yeah.
So Landman, he's got to show some depth here. Now, I love this throw from Bo, because of the 4 touchdown passes, this is by far the best throw of his touchdown pass day, right?
I was going to say, he had some better throws.
Two of them are
regular
screens, and
throws,
one of
but
them's like, hey, dude, you missed that. You don't belong here, like anywhere near. You don't belong in Meade High School, right? As the quarterback. All right. So he's shown the ability consistently to throw great on the run. He did in college. That was my scouting report. Get him on the move. Beautiful. Great ball on the move. Lil Jordan hits him in stride. Okay, let's see what the effort level is from this corner. Ooh. Oh, you mean to tell me that you didn't see that peripherally thrown?
Yeah.
Effort bad. 38-6 Denver Broncos.
Yeah. That was a 1-2-3 Cancun move. Not for the season, but for the game for sure.
Yeah, I think the cool kids now, all these Gen Zers, I think they've gotten too cool for Cancun. It's 1-2-3 Tulum. You know, you get to get a little bit of your okay, so you can see look at that little flick off schedule.
Yeah,
Here comes this. Go ahead.
Can we talk about his throw there? I mean, just his platform that he's throwing from is ridiculous, and he's trying to get it out as quick as he can.
It's beautiful.
He's got the torque to be able to do it. It's
a great job.
But he doesn't even get the hips all the way flipped. So when you're teaching somebody to throw on the run, that isn't even what you teach them. It's only like half of what you teach them. And he still has plenty of torque to get the ball there.
From a throw on the run perspective, Bo Nix is, I don't know about elite, but he's in the elite conversation, and he was coming out. I mean, I saw it at the Senior Bowl. He was at Oregon, and a lot of it is your ability to throw on the run without perfect throw on the run fundamentals. Because like I teach quarterbacks to drive your front shoulder, to get your hips turned, and then you'd love to be able to get to a position where you're able to exchange your hips at the throwing point. Your shoulders and then your hips follow through. Bo's got that ability because of his athleticism. And I'd say like his commitment to flexibility, that it all kind of comes out right here with perfection. And the ball is great. It's really good. It is really, really good. And then LJ.
Right on the money.
Right on the money. Split the 8 and 4.
Little Jordan Humphrey doesn't have to do a damn thing except walk into the end zone.
Yep. Oh, one thing I didn't check. We were 3 for 3. Let's check Davis. I did not see a Davis double hands up. So let's see if we can go to the next. Let's go back to the previous. Let's see. Q. I think it's Q. And then I'll hit N, which is next. Look at me. Learn my hotkeys on the NFL Pro app. Yeah.
Look at you.
Okay. So let's see if we get any Davis Davis Webb action. Okay, where's he at? He's right here. Oh, he gave the like a little bit of that kind of that golfer, or the caddy on tour.
He also thought this corner was going to fall off and make a tackle there. So.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, took him a second.
Do you have it? Do you have it right here?
Yeah, you got to go back just one frame because I didn't see it right before. Yep, there it is.
There he is right there. Boom. Got it. Caught you on film. Dropping the Lane Kiffin serious heat right there.
All right, Coach. So as we wrap this up, I just want your thoughts. I think Bo Nix has gotten better as the season has gone on. I know Jaden Daniels started real hot, but I don't think he has been as good in recent weeks.
He's hurt.
And
which factors into rookie of the year 100%.
There's nothing. It's the performance. Like there's nothing you can do
100%.
about it.
There's no. It does not like. But he's hurt, therefore he needs to be the rookie of the year. Hey, will you kill that screen real quick?
Yeah, sure.
It's really bothering me. 2-man game.
Okay, there we
go.
So just real quick, can you talk about your thoughts on Bo Nix as it pertains to leading this team to the playoffs and possibly winning an offensive rookie of the year versus, a Jaden Daniels, who's really the only other guy right now, I think, up for it.
I disagree with that.
Who else?
I think James Palmer, I mean, he's obviously very influential in the NFL media and has been for nearly a decade. He tweeted out that the leader in the clubhouse, from his perspective, is Brock Bowers. Because here's what I think needs to happen when you're talking offensive rookie of the year. You need to either be doing something significant in the turnaround of your football team. Okay. Right now, the Broncos have the exact same record as the Broncos of 2023 after 11 games. Okay. The Manders, on the other hand, I'm guessing they were 3 or 4. They're 3-7 or 4-6 at this venture. Are they 7-4? 7-4. 7-4. So they were either 4-7 or I don't know if they were 5-6. I don't think they had 5 wins through 11. But they're obviously better. And he had an absolute massive introduction to the NFL football world in his first 6 weeks. Got a little bit banged up and his ribs started kind of coming into play. Therefore, he wasn't running the football as well. He didn't play great against Philadelphia. And no. I do think that there's going to be a bit of a downward trend with Jaden Daniels. And I don't think it's necessarily solely on him or his injury. There's a bit of the Cliff Kingsbury effect. And a lot of people have talked about it. There's an oversimplicity to the offensive scheme. He spends a lot of time researching other concepts in the offseason, kind of rolls them out early on. And then there's maybe not the depth that you have with, say, Kevin O'Connell through a 17-game season to scheme guys open.
Or
that's what some say. And Sean has that as well, for sure. Yeah. I do think that I think it's a 3-man race, and you got to do one of 3 things to get a Rookie of the Year award. You've got to be the cog that turned around a franchise from before you got there till after you got there. I'd give the slight edge to Jaden Daniels. Brock Bowers is not even in that conversation.
Right.
I mean, they're terrible. So that's one. Yeah. That's one thing that you need to do. Second thing you need to do is put up ungodly stats. Okay. Well, Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels are fairly comparable right now. Bo Nix has 2 more interceptions with 6. Most of them came earlier in the year, but that's still part of the performance, right? It's not, it's not solely based off of like Heisman trends and all the things that we're talking about with Travis Hunter versus Ashton Genty of Boise State. It does factor into your 17-game performance. The other thing that can help you win is to have a historic performance. Bo Nix, I think he's the only one that has the historic performance. Jaden Daniels might have a case, but what Bo Nix did on Sunday against Atlanta, the first quarterback in the history of the NFL as a rookie to throw for over 300, have a completion percentage in a game over 80%, and throw for 4 touchdowns or more. First time in the history of the National Football League. Check. Jaden Daniels had his perfect. He had a perfect passer rating. Perfect. Yeah. And I think that so you could say those might cancel each other out a little bit. The stats a little bit cancel each other out. So do you start
to over 70% completion percentage? And I think that hadn't been done before either. It was
right.
Like 3 games over 70% completion.
But then we got to talk about Brock Bowers. And that's why James Palmer, you can throw tomatoes at the Denver resident if you choose to. I think he's got a great point because that statistical relevance, like not just as a rookie versus other rookies, but you're entering into statistical relevance across the NFL at all positions as a pass catcher. Right now, Brock Bowers with 70 catches, over 700 yards receiving, and I believe 3 touchdowns, which is not a big number. Right now, he is second in the NFL in receptions. And this is the one that I think is incredibly impressive. He's 7th in the National Football League at any pass catching statistic or any position. He's 7th in run after catch or yards after catch. 7th. So that's taking into account some elite number 1 receivers. Bo is doing much less compared to JD. You can certainly say that
with much less talent than Jaden Daniels has.
Agreed. But I think Scary Terry, while Terry McLaurin's done some really good things, I don't think that before this season he was a complete bona fide, like, that is a dude, and he's in the Justin Jefferson category. I would say that Jaden Daniels has elevated Scary Terry's worth and value in the National Football League.
Definitely above the Cortland Sutton class.
Dude, if you look, let's compare touchdown numbers from a year ago. If we're talking fantasy numbers and stats and everything, I mean, you do have to get into that conversation. Zach Ertz is a known commodity at tight end.
I was going to say Zach Ertz is nice.
He has been banged up the last 2-3 years, but he's playing good football this year.
De'Ami Brown is good.
Who?
He's got some talent.
Who's the guy you just said?
De'Ami Brown.
I've never heard of him, and I recruited and coach for a living. But I don't watch the Manders on a weekly basis.
Hold on, well now I got to go find him.
Oh, he's got Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Luke. Yep.
Little Washington or
Brian Washington's playing good ball. Good
Robinson Jr.
There you go. Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah, good back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's neither of them have elite skill players in the National Football League. Let's just call it like it is. Yeah, McLaurin is a better receiver than Courtland.
You're talking from a coaching perspective about all the things that Brock Bowers is doing, and you're not wrong. But the way these awards work with the people who vote on them, it's going to be a quarterback. We know it's going to be a quarterback, right?
Yeah, I mean, see, unless there's a fall off, if there's a double fall off, or just say the finish of the season, the final 6 games are shrouded in mediocrity from both Daniels and Bo Nix, and then Brock Bowers continues a historical tear and ends up with over 100 receptions, which is he's on pace for.
Maybe.
If he ends up with over 100 receptions, can you say that he shouldn't be in the Rookie of the Year conversation?
Listen, this is maybe from somebody who might have a bet on Bo Nix for Rookie of the Year. I just think we need to start the conversation. That's all.
The conversation's already started.
I'm just saying.
It started nationally mid-game on Sunday.
Yeah.
It started nationally.
100%.
But
and listen,
buyer beware, both for bettors like yourself. Not saying that you're a bettor.
No, me? No.
But and/or Broncos fans that wanted to do what Sean Payton said not to do, and that's throw the yellow jacket around Bo Nix already.
Yeah.
Okay. This is still a rookie quarterback. And the Broncos had the entire stage set. Defense shut down a top 5 offense. I mean, they were stuck in neutral after the first drive. Really. And they shot themselves in the foot. So he's got that going for him. But you got a few contests coming up where it's going to feel a lot different than what you felt against the Atlanta Falcons. And I would say that, the Raiders are the Raiders. They're a disaster. That game, I expect for Bo Nix to continue a positive trend. A little bit more concerned about Cleveland. A little bit more concerned about the Indianapolis Colts.
Very concerned about
the Chargers. Because that, outside of the end of game stuff that happened, down by 2-3 scores against the Chargers, Bo had a bad day. He had a bad day.
They dominated you.
Yeah, and he did not look good. And they did a lot of this stuff defensively that I'm talking about, which is force the quarterback to make tight window throws. Don't let him replace the football, replace the blitzer with easy zone passes. So I don't think that this game against the Falcons is repeatable on a consistent basis, just by virtue of what lies ahead. If it happens against the Raiders, I think he's the front runner for because I don't know what the Commanders have coming up. But I think that most likely Bo's a front runner if he repeats this performance against the Raiders.
Commanders have a pretty easy schedule. They have one tough game left, and it's against the Eagles. They've got Titans, they've got Cowboys, they've got Giants, they've got that kind of stuff. So they've got easy games left. Bo, if this team wants to make the playoffs, they're going to have to beat playoff caliber teams who are going for that final wild card spot. And if he does that, I feel like it puts him in the conversation for
sure.
Rookie of the Year, because
he absolutely should be.
I think it matters. I think it matters there too.
Yeah. And I would say, like, you would agree, Rob, that if you take the totality of the season through 11 games, you would say Jaden Daniels today would be the rookie of the year.
Yeah, probably.
But once again, like, I see Arrow
right
slightly down, and I see Arrow slightly up for Bo. So we shall see.
I agree with you. All right, Coach. Well, I always love sitting talking ball with you. I appreciate you.
No, that was fun, man.
And teaching us some.
We're gonna start trying to do this at 2:00 on Wednesday. Is today Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday. Sorry, jeez. We're 2:00 will be our. It was hard for me because of my drive back from Lone Tree up north. It can be a 38-minute drive or an hour and 22 minutes. So 1:30 was tough. But if you like this program, please,
popular guy.
Please subscribe and like the Altitude YouTube channel and Coach Sanford, his YouTube channel as well. Like Rob's stuff as well. I don't know my name, so I sure as hell don't know your names, my handles or whatever. But
they're both right underneath your little photo there, Coach.
Coach
Mike Sanford.
Oh, that's pretty easy. It was hidden by my full screen stuff. So
there you go. So it's on there. And listen, we appreciate you guys being here. We'll of course tweet it out when we're on. We'll throw it up on YouTube and on Facebook and a couple other destinations too. We'll try to do it every Tuesday at 2:00, and we can kind of track the way that this is going with Bo Nix, hopefully for a playoff berth for the Broncos. Coach.
Thank God the Bills have a bye so we can have the crystal clean pipes of Rob Trigilio return upon our next.
I'll play hurt if I have to, Coach. I'll play hurt. You know me.
All right, boss.
I'm a middle linebacker. I'll play hurt. All right, Coach. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
Next time. Thank you so much for dropping in. We'll see you Tuesday, 2:00 next week.